Like, don't strip naked to warm up someone else.
Huh?
You have black mold in the bathroom. The lights are not fixed. It's a cake, not propaganda. Ooh, guys, you're gonna yell at me for this. Good for the economy. I'll do it for the economy. Down with the peace. Let the fire burn. Hey guys, welcome to today's episode. Can you feel it? The countdown is starting. Thanksgiving is officially next week. So, of course, I threw in maybe one or maybe more Thanksgiving stories in today's episode. Our theme is unhinged. So, yeah, we're going to get a little bit chaotic here today. But I do have a question to start off with you guys today. I've been thinking of changing the podcast name. I know. We've been Honeyhearts podcast for a very long time. I say that because I was thinking the 1 year anniversary of this channel is coming up. And I think when I started it, I had a very different vision. I mean, the OGs will know that I used to start this, or I used to have the episodes with Sandra, my friend. And now that's kind of, the solo V show over here. I just feel like maybe I need an updated name. Do you guys love Honey Hearts podcast, or is it getting too cheesy and dated? Be honest with me. I mean, some names I was throwing around is, okay, they're not very creative, but don't judge me. Like Reddit with V, get it? Like Reddit as in Reddit stories, but then also like you reading a story. I told M this and he was quite unimpressed by my name idea. So it's still in the works, but if you have any ideas for me, let me know in the comments. So let's hop into our first story. Our first one is a Thanksgiving one. First story is from the subreddit, Am I the A-hole? Am I the a-hole for refusing to let my brother bring his girlfriend to Thanksgiving after she disrespected my wife? I, 31-year-old male, am married to Lily, 30-year-old female. My brother Josh, 29-year-old male, recently started dating Lindsay, 27-year-old female. And while she's been polite at family events, Lily feels Lindsay has made some passive-aggressive comments. For example, at a recent barbecue, Lindsay said it was selfish that Lily and I weren't planning to have kids anytime soon. Lily felt uncomfortable, but I didn't say anything at the time. Another incident happened at a family dinner when Lindsay remarked, quote, I'm surprised you two are so happy without kids. You must be really good at being selfish. Lily was hurt by that comment, and it made her feel like Lindsay was judging her life choices. What did Lily do to Lindsay? There has to be some background beef leading up to the story, because it just seems like, Opie, your wife cannot get a break. Every single family event, every single gathering, Lindsay always has something to say. They're not full on insults, but they're almost like backhanded remarks. Things that just make you go, wait, should I be offended? That didn't sound right. Because first off, I think if anyone, whether or not a couple wants to have kids or not have kids, that's on them. Isn't it? Okay, I'm not that experienced with this type of conversation, but isn't it rude to comment on someone's like kids or not having of kids? Right? That's not like coffee table conversation, right?
I mean, to me in general, any type of comment that comes off rude, which this one clearly does, would be rude, right? Doesn't matter what the topic is, in my opinion.
True. You're right.
This is not even a comment. This is a comment and then a jab.
It's like out of nowhere.
And at the same time, I can't like. What does not having kids have to do with selfishness? Like, what's the connection there?
I'm thinking some people think that if you don't have kids, you're being selfish, because the definition of being selfish being that you're prioritizing yourself and what you want over kids, over potential kids, which I think it's true if you take it by the literal sense of it, but I don't think it's a negative thing. I think I think everyone should be selfish in whatever, when it comes to their happiness and whatever makes sense for them in their relationship. Does that make sense?
I mean, I hear you, but at the same time, I can't understand it.
Yeah, it's a weird concept.
To me, I guess the definition of selfishness would be prioritizing yourself over something, but at the same time, kids, like,
well, in this case, pseudo kids that don't exist.
You're right. and that to me doesn't make sense. Like, why is that the default? Like, is there thinking that everyone must have kids, and if you choose not to have kids, you're being selfish? I guess, is that the thinking?
I think so. It's interesting. I don't necessarily agree with it either, but I've heard comments like that too. I mean, anyone who's been dating, if you guys have ever dated and if your parents are like this, let me know in the comments because I feel your pain. But when Em and I were maybe at first, our first few years of dating, no comments. It wasn't even a comment about marriage. My parents jumped straight to baby, when? And I'm like, I'm a baby. I don't feel like having a baby right now. Like, this is not, hello? But I guess it's a Viet thing. Maybe it's a Viet thing. I'm not sure if other cultures are the same way, but Viet families, they're very much in your business, really up in there. No question is not allowed. So they'll ask you questions just casually. A relative might just go up to you and say, so when are you going to get married? When is he going to propose? When are the kids coming? It's just very personal questions, but I guess culturally it's a thing where uh, I think in a good and bad way, it's kind of like, it makes a lot of people uncomfortable, I would say. But for me, a lot of times, well, I used to joke before I ever met M when relatives would come up to me and I was single at the time. Oh, are you dating or what's that like? Like they would grill all my cousins and me, right? My response was at the time, oh, it's hard out here because I would only date Zac Efron from High School Musical. Yes, Zac Efron. And so my uncles and aunts like just started laughing, and eventually they stopped asking because every year, like clockwork at all the family events, oh, who are you dating? Zac Efron. That was my default. Regardless, I think, yeah, these are straight up insults. But let's see what OP's gonna face next. He says, Lily was hurt by that comment, and it made her feel like Lindsay was judging her life choices. I'm pretty sure she kind of is. Most recently, at a birthday party, Lindsay made a comment about Lily's career, saying, quote, it's cute that you're working part-time with no kids, while Josh and I are really focusing on our careers. Lily was annoyed, but didn't say anything because she didn't want to start drama. Lindsay has it out for your wife. Wait, so Lindsay is the girlfriend of OP's brother. So brother's girlfriend. I'm kind of picking up maybe a little bit of, is it jealousy? Where is this animosity coming from? It seems like every single time she's leveling up her insult one by one and going for the jugular. Like I'm scared for Lily. I would be annoyed too. And also, Opie, I do have to comment on you a little bit because why are you not speaking up? Okay, first time, I get it. Maybe you don't want to make things awkward at a family event. Second time, maybe you misheard. Maybe you misread the situation. But Lily, your wife, is clearly annoyed and you haven't said anything. I'm judging a little bit. I'm just a wee bit, just a wee bit. Now, Opie says, Thanksgiving is at our house this year. And when Josh asked if he could bring Lindsay, I told him I prefer if she didn't come. I explained that some of her comments had made Lily feel disrespected, and I didn't want that to ruin the holiday. Josh got upset and said I was being petty. He argued that I was overreacting and that Lindsay was just being honest. But I stood my ground. Now, Josh says he won't come if Lindsay isn't invited, and my parents are caught in the middle. My mom thinks I'm being too harsh, but I feel like I'm just standing up for my wife. Am I the a-hole for refusing to let my brother bring his girlfriend to Thanksgiving? No. I feel like this is long overdue. And you know what's even more ironic? The holiday being Thanksgiving, a holiday of feeling appreciative and I feel like kindness and joy and love and wholesomeness. And Lindsay is acting complete opposite of that. No, I hate to nitpick on husband here because, okay, I will give you a few points here, sir, because you are standing your ground. You're uninviting Lindsay and you're saying why. But you got to make this a not Lindsay versus Lily thing. And you got to make it you and Lindsay. Oh, sorry. Ooh, you and Lily as a couple versus Lindsay. Because all these jabs, they're not just directed at Lily. I mean, yeah, kind of mostly at her, but the whole, oh, like, must be nice. You guys are so happy without kids. I'm surprised. That's directed at both of you. It kind of it annoys me a little bit, OP, that in your response to your brother, you basically say, oh, no, Lindsay can't come because she makes my wife uncomfortable. Why isn't it she makes both of us uncomfortable? Hello? Are you just doing this because Lily's upset? Or are you doing it because you're also offended by the odd behavior? Do you get that vibe? Why not just tell your brother, hey, your girlfriend is an a hole. I don't want her here. Even if Lily, I feel like, was just shrugging it off or bearing through it, if she was just kind of like, oh, to keep the peace, I think OP should still uninvite Lindsay. You think I'm too harsh?
I wouldn't say you're too harsh. At least the way I'm seeing it is OP and OP's wife. I think they're likely the type of people that would not necessarily confront anyone about those comments
Mm,
directly, and maybe they had a conversation afterwards, kind of made their decision that way. So
I
because
guess.
it takes not everyone can have that confrontation or want to have the confrontation as it happens,
But
especially when you hear things like that.
like, I get the not wanting to confront part. But then at that point, you can just say, oh, we're not comfortable having Lindsay. We don't know her very well. Like some other excuse. My issue is I see a lot of couples where it becomes like they kind of use their partner as a scapegoat. Like when it comes to confrontation, they bring out the partner and say, "Oh no, like it's not me, but my wife just feels this way," or "No, it's not me, it's just my husband or my partner, whoever feels this way."
I I don't think that's
You
a
know?
right thing to do either.
No, I don't think so. But that's what I'm worried about here because it feels a lot of like, even though the jabs are towards like the comments alone, like the kids or not having kids, and they're towards them as a couple. It's not like
Yeah,
she's singling out Lily.
yeah. I think as a couple, especially in
Yeah.
this situation, you should kind of act as a unit
Yeah.
and
That's exactly what I'm trying to say.
approach the situations as a unit, because then it puts your partner in bad light. Even
Yeah.
though you might be feeling the same way, it's just
Like if you don't make it clear.
right.
There are cases where if you have a pushover husband, for example, I'm not saying OP is, I'm just saying that I've seen cases where a pushover husband, but then the wife brings up things and says, no, I feel this way or whatever. Then everyone's like, oh no, she's the one that's naggy. She's the one that's causing problems. He doesn't care, but she does. Or vice versa, if the roles are switched. So I'm just a little bit cautious with that. But good thing is OP is finally standing his ground in the sense of, let's not have Lindsay at Thanksgiving. I think it's easy for the parents to say, oh, you're too harsh to OP. But like, is it not ridiculous that Josh, the boyfriend, I I kind of get the brother in the sense of, I guess stand by your girl even if she's wrong. I don't know. I don't think that's so, but I guess that's what he's doing there. He's like, well, if my girlfriend can't come, well then I won't show up either. Okay, don't show up. I don't
Yeah.
know.
I would
Don't
say
show up.
yeah, I would say that maybe if it only happened once, I would say
Yeah.
maybe I could consider that uninviting would be
A little bit too
yeah,
far.
too much.
Yeah.
It happened twice already.
No, it happened 3 times.
Well, oh, three times? Yeah, so
Yeah.
then at that point, for sure, that is, in my opinion, appropriate response. OP could also choose to have some kind of conversation and just to get that clear that, this type of talk is now welcome at their house, I'm assuming, because they would be hosting.
Yeah. I was gonna say, Lindsay definitely has it out for your wife. I don't know what it is, but there is some beef going on there. Maybe it's just one way from Lindsay to your wife, but it's there.
At the same time, you can have your own opinions, right? Like, I don't think people should be arguing against that, even though they might be unfavorable. But as soon as you put it out there in front of everyone, and
Right. The whole comments about the kids and the
yeah, you make it
working.
basically personal. And maybe I'll go another step in a topic or in a thing that is really a personal choice. I
Yeah.
guess it's not like that choice is hurting anyone or affecting everyone.
Right. It literally only affects OP and his wife. I don't know why
I
Lindsay
mean,
has so much to
I guess you can
say.
make an argument that it does. The whole like economy. You want to have kids, it's
Oh my
better. But
gosh.
at the same time, then every other argument would
Right.
fall apart as well, because
The economy.
anyone using any service would be responsible, right? Like you can make it like yeah,
Any
just
comment that, "Oh, it's for the good of the economy,
right.
it's for the economy." Oh, have you ever heard that, it's a meme sound? I think it's from Simpsons. It's Marge. And like it used to be trending, I think like a few years ago, whatever. But mostly girls, so whenever anyone would buy anything, right? They would put the Marge Simpson audio over it and I'll be like, oh, I shouldn't. But then they buy and they're like,
It'll be good for the economy.
I'll do it for the economy.
Uh,
Babe, I think we should eat out more for the economy. Yeah? Is that a yes? I see you nodding yes.
I'm nodding yes to your example, but
Oh.
no to that.
Oh, you know what I just realized? These aren't even like one-on-one interactions. Every single time Lindsay said something, it's been at family gatherings. So at a barbecue, at a family dinner, at a birthday party. What's next? Oh, I bet you at Thanksgiving, Lindsay's going to step up her game. If she were to come and if OP, you were to be soft and let Lindsay come, she's probably going to say something like, oh my gosh, your home is so cute. It's so humble. The decor is so homemade. Like, I feel like she's going to say something like that. She's going to find something to nitpick. 100%. Lindsay, the epitome of the anti-Thanksgiving guest. Let's see what comments are saying. First comment from Kimba the Tabby Lion. Not the a-hole, but I'm not sure why you're hiding behind Lily. I love when the comments validate what I'm thinking. 2 out of 3 examples you give, Lindsay's talking about both of you, but somehow only Lily is offended. Say you don't like being called selfish either, and honesty is no defense. I think when most people are rude, they mean it. If someone says I'm selfish and my career is cute, it's actually worse if they mean it, i.e., if they're honest, than if they're just saying it for some petty point scoring reason. If Lindsay really believes what she's saying, then she needs to equivocate if she wants to interact with you socially. Ooh, I felt this comment in my soul. I just imagine Lindsay going, honestly, you're so brave for not working and letting your husband work. And you guys have no kids. That's so brave. Like I can feel the sarcastic, like the little jabs, like oozing from Lindsay here. That would annoy me. Ugh, your brother has terrible taste. Another comment from a strange peg. Not the a-hole, in bold. I have a great phrase which you will still be able to use. Quote, it's never occurred to me Lindsay would even want to come after she made it very clear she dislikes us, our home, our family, and the childbearing choices we were forced to make. Ooh, that's it's kind of catty. I kind of love it. Lol, and you were forced by your right to make choices without her opinions. You might also want to remind Josh that people who actively and repeatedly insult and hurt others under the guise of just being honest are often called bullies and are seldom invited back to launch another attack. Maybe CC your mom and ask her for advice. See what Josh or Lindsay says, then decide. In the long term, if it looks like Lindsay's going to marry Josh, the entire family would do better to gently teach her, quote, we don't talk and treat each other like that in this family. As maybe she just wasn't raised right and is unaware her bully words are not the best way to act and make her look like an a-hole. I think this was some good advice. I have to admit, as crazy as it sounds, there is a chance that Lindsay has no idea she's coming off as an ultimate a-hole. Some people are just that clueless, unfortunately. Like, read the room, girl. Overall, to answer OP's question, no, you're not the a-hole, but I would agree. I would listen to some of the comments here, OP. And if you have comments for OP, let him know. Let me know how you feel about this. I feel like this story ticked me off in several ways. Let me know if it baffled you in the same. Stop hiding behind your wife, husband. But I'm glad that you're putting your foot down against Lindsay. Now, if you guys are enjoying these stories with us, don't forget to like this episode and hit subscribe, guys. And if you're listening on Spotify, don't forget to give me 5 stars on it. So now it's time for our wild pick. One thing that I was talking to my sister recently, and she watches the podcast and tunes in sometimes. She told me that a good idea is if I introduced a little jingle or sound for the wild pick. I don't know, something a little fun. I have to admit, the first thing I thought was jingle bells. I don't know what sound I'm going to go with, but I'm going to add it in. And you guys let me know if you like the jingle for a wild pick or if you prefer a different sound or you think it's just a little bit too cheesy, too unnecessary. So let me know. But today's wild pick is basically just that story that's a little bit wild, a little bit kooky. Let's get into it. This one is from the subreddit, Am I the A-hole? Would I be the a-hole for asking for my heater back, even though my flatmate is sick? Opie says, so I, female 20 years old, have 3 flatmates, but only 2 are important to the story. So I'll call them Flo, female 21 years old, and Laura, female 20 years old. So we're renting a house while at university, and as winter has properly now set in, throwing my small uni town into early evenings and frost covered grounds. So it has become a necessity to have the radiators on. As I'm sure you can imagine, uni students and landlords aren't always the best recipe. And so our radiators don't work. They probably need bleeding. And so far, we've heard no response from our landlords if we're allowed to bleed them ourselves. Oh, is this? I am once again guessing this is a UK story. When you say your radiators need to be bled out, like,
I can chime in here.
you know this?
Yeah,
Oh,
I think it's more common, I guess, in Europe and maybe Canada, I guess, where the heating is not, I guess, forced air, where, the hot air comes out of vents, but you have radiators that are usually, I guess, near windows. I don't
uh
know,
huh.
could be somewhere else.
Yeah.
But then basically a hot water runs through them, and that's how you heat up the house.
Oh, I never knew that
So
about
if
radiators.
there's air in the radiator, because some air gets in the
Uh huh.
system, then it doesn't heat efficiently. So you would have to open up, like, I guess, the bleeding valve on the radiator to let the air out. Um,
Wait, so you're telling me the bleeding out comes from the fact that you need to let out air and
mhm.
not to let out the water, even though it's called bleeding?
Yeah, you bleed out the air that's in the system so that it can heat more efficiently. Because if there's too much air, then it's just not gonna heat efficiently.
I don't know why this term is so silly to me. Because when I think bleed, I think liquid. Like you have to like let out the liquid. So when you said no, it's the air. You keep the water in.
I mean, it could be anything. Bleeding is just bleeding, and it's something out, right?
That's
Like,
interesting. I've never heard it used like that in the U.S. though. Is that? I'm thinking maybe it's like a. Maybe you're right. It's a Europe and Canadian language, verbal language thing.
I mean, no, it's a general term.
Okay, never mind. I just have zero knowledge of radiators.
Well,
Clearly.
not just radiators, bleeding anything. Like, it could be used for cars. I guess bleeding the brakes, bleeding anything.
See, what does that say about my growing up? That the first time I think of bleeding, I was blood. I'm thinking gore and blood. But interesting. Okay, so fun little fact I just learned. Opie says, and our radiators don't work. They probably need bleeding. And so far, we've heard no response from our landlords if we're allowed to bleed them ourselves. We have no heating. We haven't had any heating. The only time our bedrooms get warm is if the tumble dryer is on, which we can't leave on, or we'll have to pay more for bills. So when I last went home, I bought 2 heaters with me. I gave one to Laura because she was sick, and I still had my main one. However, Flo asked last night if she could have it because her asthma gets really bad and the cold air can, even in extreme cases, leave her hospitalized. This means I have no heaters. Wait. Let me do this math. OP has 2 heaters. She gave one to Laura because she's sick. And then Flo is going to go to her and say, "Okay, can I have your second heater? Because if not, I'm going to be hospitalized." OP, is there something like, is everyone catching the same like cold or whatever this is in your flat, or what's going on? Is everyone just dropping sick? It seems to be dropping like flies. I think Flo needs more than a heater if she's worried about being hospitalized. Perhaps she should actually go to the hospital now, as a preventative measure and not say, "Hey girl, if I don't have your heater, I'm going to have to go to the hospital." Maybe buy a heater? I don't know. Is that weird to say? Are heaters that expensive? I don't think they're that expensive. They're cheaper ones, right?
Yeah, I mean, usually companies hike up the prices during winter for the heat.
Really?
Yeah, they do. And then you see, actually, uh, so I guess we had a heating issue in I guess our home, like
I remember, yeah.
a few years back, and then we had to basically get a electric
Yeah.
heater
We still have
for
it,
the
yeah.
time being, and it was, I guess, in the springtime.
Yeah.
So I went to buy one, and I
Mhm.
literally got it for like $2 because it was.
Why didn't you tell me about this deal? Oh my gosh, that's such a deal. I don't know why my first reaction is like, why didn't you buy more?
We
I
don't
don't know
need
why.
anymore.
It being $2 made me want to like impulse buy more of
Yeah, it
it.
was just basically, I think they were just trying to get rid of it. In any case, they shouldn't be too expensive. So I would say it's why why won't the roommates get their own heaters?
That's what I'm saying. Why are they? You know what this feels like? The store of rainbow fish. Do you know rainbow fish?
No.
Oh, Okay. You guys will need to let me know if I'm the only crazy person that remembers rainbow fish. But rainbow fish is a very, very popular American children's story. I think it's American. I don't know. I read it in America. A lot of kids seem to love it. The idea is okay, rainbow fish is like this gorgeous looking fish. I think he is a he. He has all these like glittery scales, right? And some of them are like extra shiny. And in the kids' book, it's made of the reflective silver, shiny,
Mm.
sparkly material. So he's like, the big fancy fish. So he goes and he's swimming about. And then like one fish goes up and he's like, "Hey, you look really good. Can I have one of those too? I want to look like you." And he's like, "No, they're mine." And then another fish comes up to him and he's like, "Oh, I really like your scales. You look amazing. Can I have one of your scales too?" He's like, no, get in line, right?" So he moves on and eventually he's like, "I have no friends." And so I forget who tells him. He asks someone for help or mentorship or whatever. And maybe it's an octopus. I don't know why I'm thinking it's an octopus. I might be wrong. So some wise adult figure fish, whatever, comes in and says, "You know why you have no friends? It's because you won't give up what you have. Sharing is caring. You better start sharing if you want friends." So then Rainbow Fish is like, "Well, but I like my scales. I like the way I look. But I guess in order to have friends, I need to give up everything I have." So then he gives every single scale away until he only has one left. What made him special? Literally, he had to give it all away. If you guys are hearing the rage in my voice right now, is because I, I'll be honest, I never understood the whole point of rainbow fish. Please tell me I'm not the only one who's angered by this. But it's the concept of you should always share everything you have, even if it's not really a necessity. And I hate that concept because I don't think it was fair to rainbow fish. And in this aspect, OP, you're a rainbow fish. No, take back those heaters. If these girls are really that sick, I think the hospital should be the right place to go and not a little heater, right?
I can get behind the whole sharing is caring
Yes.
idea,
But
right? But at the same time, where I mean, you were proactive yourself. You got the heaters.
yeah,
You got two of them. You let someone else borrow one already, and now you're gonna be left without a heater.
that's so sad.
I mean, yeah, you can choose to do that. I don't think you would be. Honestly, you would, in my opinion, you would not be the a-hole if you
Said
kept
no.
one,
Yeah.
or even kept two. I mean, you might need two because it might be still too cold.
Right.
Maybe before taking back the heater from one of your other roommates, you, I don't know, mention and saying, "Oh, I will need this heater back. So, I'll take it back in, I don't know, let's say 2 days or something among those lines." And then, yeah, like plan accordingly. Please try to get one yourself.
See, but this pisses me off. If you borrow something from someone, you should, in my opinion, you should initiate giving it back. It shouldn't take, I mean, yes, the original owner can come and remind you, but it just rubs me the wrong way when it's almost like, "Oh, you never reminded me." Like, hello, you borrowed something from me. Why would you not give it back? So I'm a little bit nervous because think about it. If OP gives up her last heater, when is she going to get it back exactly?
Yeah, who knows?
Because they're all saying it's cold. Cold. It's really cold, right? And it's winter and they all live in the same flat. So, what was the thinking here?
I think the roommates need to be more proactive and either figure out how to get their own heaters or try
Or
to
go to the
expedite it with the
hospital?
landlord to get the heating working. That seems to be unacceptable. So going towards your roommate and asking for the heaters,
When you know she only has one left for
right? That
herself?
is kind of a-hole-ish from their
Yeah.
behalf as well. Like that they're not being. I don't think they're being proactive,
Nope.
or I don't know what their financial situation is, but
They know that she only has one heater. Why don't they just offer to like, "Hey, let's temporarily
right,
room in the go in the same
right,
room together or something." Like, do what you got to do, right?
yeah. I mean, I was in that situation. I was the roommate without the heater. I would not feel great trying to even ask for one when someone else only has one.
No. I would feel so bad. So I'm surprised that roommate is just going for it. But let's see. Opie says, "I also have a condition where due to my medication, my feet and hands get really, really cold. I'm talking toes go blue and can stick them under hot water and won't feel anything. Also, our house isn't the best in terms of insulation. So I'm thinking about asking Laura for my heater back. As I'm so cold, I'm in pain. I do understand that she's sick and that her getting better should take priority. After all, I do have a hot water bottle, and surely I can survive using that until December 20th when I go home. However, why should I have to freeze? They're my heaters? She's had the heater for over 2 weeks, and Flo hasn't even mentioned giving my main heater back, but I don't want her to get lung damage or something. What is that phrase? It's like, I forgot what it's from, but I think there's a phrase that describes the situation. Like, don't burn your coals to keep someone warm. No, that definitely did not sound right. Don't give someone firewood to be cold. No, don't give someone your sweater. I'm close, guys. There's some saying like that.
I'm sure there is, but
But you know what I'm talking about, right?
I, I guess I get the idea. I don't
Like,
know what
don't
that's.
strip naked to warm up someone else.
Huh?
I don't know. I feel like that was the first one. I feel like one of those was close. My point is, I don't think their situation is so dire health wise for the two flatmates that OP needs to literally sacrifice her well being for it. I think it's a little dramatic, especially because, excuse me, one of the girls, she's had the heaters for 2 weeks and she's still sick past 2 weeks. Girl, you need to get checked out. Go to the hospital. Like, and if you can't go physically, there's like, what is it now? There's WebMD. Diagnose yourself before calling up your doctor if you can't make it there. Or there's like, what is it? Virtual appointments nowadays. Schedule one. I feel like they're kind of mooching off your heater, OP. I really do. But let's see. Let's see. OP says, I just don't know what to do. I don't want to be a horrible person by taking away something from a sick person. But at the same time, I offered her to use it. She's never even thanked me for it. Now I need it back and I don't know what to do. Also, Flo could stay at her boyfriend's place, but I don't want to be a bee and ask for my heater back because she really needs it. But does she? But does she really need it? I feel bad for OP though because she lives with them too. So in asking for it back, I feel like they're going to make us think about it and they're going to play the, oh, but I'm so sick card. Mm-mm.
I don't think this is even an emergency situation in terms of getting the heater, or that they're stuck somewhere that they cannot get a heater. Like, I
They
mean,
just don't want to. I feel like they just don't have the need or urge to.
yeah, I don't think they have the urge to get one, and that's the core issue here. I mean, if they don't have much money, you can still probably get one used or something like that, secondhand,
Oh, that's
and
true.
get
Mhm.
one.
I mean, if they can't even afford one heater, you know what they can do? The two roommates can pool their funds together to chime in together and get one heater to share.
Right.
OP, my advice to you, you don't want to be an a-hole. You don't want to be a jerk to someone who's sick. That's fine. But you need to cover your needs, right? Like you have an actual medical condition as well, and you brought these heaters. So I would just say, hey, I'm sorry about the situation. I really need my heater back. You've used it for over 2 weeks now. And I think that has been more than generous. Just because you said yes on the condition that they can borrow it doesn't mean you said yes to forever them using it. Those are two different things. So OP does have a small update. Small update, first of all, I'd like to thank every one of the commenters for taking time to read my post and respond. The two usual things commented are, one, why haven't I bled the radiators as it's my duty as tenant? And two, I'm not the a-hole for this. So to answer the first main question, the reason why I haven't done so yet is because I wanted to ask the landlord first. As I'm a student, I seriously don't have enough money to pay if I accidentally break something. I barely have enough money to buy food. Secondly, I'm glad I did ask the landlords because even though they've stated they don't know how to turn the heating on, they did also say that they had the boiler put in this summer, and so the plumbing would have bled any radiators that needed bleeding. After some FaceTiming of fathers amongst the flat, we've discovered our circulation pressure is far too low and we don't know the tap for the water pipe to bring the pressure back up. If we'd bled the radiators, the pressure would have dropped further. Also, we don't have a radiator key. Yes, I know you can buy them on Amazon. We didn't buy one as this wasn't an issue until the last week. Not gonna lie to you, that was so much radiator talk. I went over my mind. I'm long story short, I just know they FaceTimed the dads. The dads told them what they had to do. So, two, thank you all for giving me your honest opinions. I'm glad to know I wouldn't be the arsehole I love that arsehole. I wouldn't be the arsehole for asking for my heaters back. The landlords have said they'll come over to check the black mold in the bathroom, fix the lights, and check the boiler. So I've asked for my main heater back just for now until Flo gets home. So at least I have some heat. I also spent the last of my money on stew ingredients, so I'm happily devouring it now. Thank you all once again. Is this a common situation with landlords? You have black mold in the bathroom, the lights are not fixed, and the radiator wasn't working. OP, are you okay? I am this is kind of painting out to be some sort of one of those like Airbnb nightmares, like uh, college campus like nightmare situations. Like, isn't black mold dangerous to inhale and live around? Right?
I don't think that's healthy.
Yeah. The way she just casually threw that in at the end, it's like, oh, it's fine. I talked to landlords; they're gonna come in and fix everything, including that black mold. Um, I mean, I was over here worrying that you're gonna freeze to death, but I guess the black mold is also kind of a pressing issue too, don't you think? I'm a little bit concerned for you, OP, but I'm glad it seems like you got the situation in check. Let's see. See some of the comments. First comment from Survivor, not the whole. Laura was sick, but if she's still sick after 2 weeks, then she needs to get her butt to a hospital. That's what I said. She's not sick, at least not in the conventional sense anymore. I just think she's sick of being cold. Girl just really likes her heater. Flo has a lifelong chronic condition of which she is well aware and should be buying her own heater because she'll need it all winter, every winter. Yes, to address your proactivity point. At this point, neither of them should be using your heaters except for the fact that you were kind enough to lend them out. But you're trying to be a kind person and there's nothing wrong with that. So at this point, what you do is you tell both of them that you are taking your main heater back and the two of them are welcome to work out how to share the other heater for the next week or so. I am 2 for 2 today. I am predicting these comments. After that, you'll be using it in the main space, so they will need to use that time to figure out whether or not they want to buy heaters of their own for their bedrooms. It doesn't matter which bedrooms they sleep in or whether they don't want to share a bedroom temporarily or whatever. It doesn't matter whether they agree with you or not, and they will likely both tell you that you are mean and everything else. They're adults and they're responsible for themselves. You're not a parent, you're a roommate, and if you don't start putting your foot down, they're going to walk all over you for the remainder of the time you are sharing the space. I agree. The comments have really made me feel satisfied today.
Oh, although it irks me a little bit that if you're gonna go rent out a place with roommates,
Yeah.
etc., you should figure out what is your responsibility to take care of versus landlords, so that you're not left in a situation as such.
Yeah. I've never roomed like in a rental area with radiators long term. So it's the renter's responsibility
I think
to
it
bleed it out.
depends where you live. In UK might be different. And in
Okay.
any case, doesn't matter where you live, you should kind of figure that out ahead of time.
Right, like you
Be
should
proactive
know.
about it, not wait until it gets cold and then you realize you have no heat and you have no idea whose responsibility it is.
I'm just imagining when Opie was originally typing the original post, she was just like shivering in her room with no heater. And it's just like, oh my God, am I the a-hole for wanting my heater back? Like, oh, I feel so bad for you, Opie. Well, I'm glad things kind of worked out. I feel some sort of way though, that it wasn't like, it didn't feel like your roommates volunteered to return your heater. It felt more like it seems like you're contacting the landlord, you're trying to figure this heater situation out when it's not really just your responsibility. It's all three of your responsibilities, or I guess four. You originally had three other roommates, right? So I kind of feel bad that Opie, you're a really nice person and you seem like you were trying to be kind about the situation, but stand up for yourself more, especially when it comes to these things. Now, our next story is also from Am I the A-hole subreddit. Am I the a-hole for booking a trip to Oregon despite still owing my mom some money? I, 26-year-old female, live in Florida and currently work 3 jobs as an adjunct professor, part-time with the state, and as a trio tutor. Trio seems like some sort of acronym. I'm not sure what that is. Maybe it's affiliated with a company. I also run a private tutoring business that brings me significant income, about $50 an hour, and I'm finishing my first year of my PhD with funding. Now, to give some backstory. 2 years ago, I was trying to find full-time employment while still working on my master's and ran into some financial troubles. So I had no other option but to use a credit card that my mom co-signed for me. I have been paying down that debt by making monthly payments on time and making extra payments here and there. I have also apologized to my mom and assured her that I'm doing everything I can to pay the balance down. Since she co signed it, it affects her credit too. I was talking to her the other day and mentioned that I found a very cheap flight to Portland and happened to find a nice B&B in a safe area for a very low price too. So therefore, I was going to spend Thanksgiving break there. She immediately became angry and said that I should have just put that money towards paying off my debt instead of booking a trip. But I have been making payments on time and I'm working to pay it off on top of my other living expenses. I told her that I just need a break since I worked 3 jobs and recently went through a tough breakup. She then suggested we end the call because she's getting tired and too angry before bed. So we did. Ooh, guys, you're gonna yell at me for this.
I think the audience is gonna yell at me as well.
Oh, okay. Wait. You go first. You go first.
All right. So here's my opinion. If you're gonna owe someone money, especially if it's kind of unexpected type of expense, like you put money on your credit card
Yeah.
and it's co-signed,
Mhm.
unless there was an agreement beforehand to say, okay, this is expected, we're going to spend this money and we're going to pay it off in like half a year
Yeah.
or something like that, even making the monthly payments. I think that OP should do whatever she can, or he
She
can,
can. Yeah.
she
She can.
can, to pay it off as soon as possible, because this is unexpected expense that she put on the
Right. Her mom.
co-share. Like,
And affected her mom's credit score.
exactly. At that point, I would say, unless there was explicit agreement to say, yeah, we're gonna, OP is gonna tackle this in, let's say, half a year,
Mm-hmm.
and this is how much time she has to pay it off, then I think the default here is do what you can to pay
Pay
it off,
ASAP.
or it's also, I think, your responsibility in that case to establish a plan to communicate with your mom. This is how long it's gonna take for me to pay it off. Other, like, the fact that she's taking a vacation,
She
that,
went and called her mom and went, Mom, I'm going on a vacation.
yeah. Sorry, OP, your day hole. Like, I don't know what else I would need to hear for me to change my mind on this.
See,
So what's your take on this?
this story has me kind of like, I just want to start cracking up, but like from like the audacity, because see, it could be like a personal like values thing. I don't know. I'm the type where I hate owing someone like anything. Like even my parents. Like if I'm gonna borrow any money, I don't, but if I do, like if I was out and I didn't bring cash and the place only accepts cash and I'm like, Mom, can you spot me a 20 or something? I feel weird about it. Like, not because my mom's hounding me for $20. She doesn't do that. She's just like, yeah, yeah, whatever. It's fine, whatever. But for me, I'm the type to say, don't worry, I'll pay you back. And then I do pay her back ASAP because I feel weird, about it. To me, it would never enter my mind to put a sudden expense on a card that my mom is co signing. So it damaged her credit score when I didn't pay it back and is accruing interest as we speak. And I'm out here going, hey, Mom, guess what? I'm going to Oregon for vacay with your debt. With whose money? Like, with whose money? It's just the way OP says it, though. I can feel that she's like, well, I've made payments and, sometimes I put in a little extra. Well, why aren't you just paying it off? If you can afford a trip, you can probably afford to pay a big chunk of it off. I'm with your mom here, OP. I'm
She
sorry.
cannot afford the trip.
You're right. She can't afford the trip. If she can't afford
Caleb
to pay off her
Hammer.
debt, you're right. We are fans of Caleb Hammer, guys. So I can hear Caleb Hammer's voice screaming in the distance. With what money? You can't afford this. You are in debt. Oh, but you're kind of an a-hole. No, like to do this to your mom too? Just because you apologize and you're making some payments, it's not really like fully righting the wrong, in my opinion. Fully righting the wrong is doing everything in your power to do this. And I'm not saying that, hey, OP works 3 jobs. She needs a break. Sure, you do. But do you need a whole, flight and stay at a bed and breakfast in another state? Let's be real. No, you don't.
It's a want, not a need.
Yes, it's a want, not a need. You are correct. So I don't know. For someone who says you make pretty good money with your 3 jobs, if you're really tired and you need a vacation, I don't know. Take a walk through Target. I don't, that has been my like free
That's
fun advice
it's a
to
bad
everyone.
advice. You're gonna spend money in Target. Take a walk in the park.
That's so much. That's not as fun as Target or IKEA.
Yeah, but you're less likely to spend money at the park.
Okay, I mean, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. But like even that would be a trip, a walk through IKEA would be cheaper for OP than going to Oregon. Oh,
What if she sees a nice sofa that she needs to have?
oh man. Dang. Dang OP. Get your head in the game. Pay your mom back first. Then you can take all the trips you want without the burden of the debt. Because I bet you it's still accruing interest because she hasn't paid it off. So it's still growing. Why? Just OP. But let's say there's still more to the story. We might change our minds.
I doubt it.
OP says, here's the thing though. Not too long ago, she insisted I take a whole week off of work next summer so that I could fly up to where she lives, another state about a 3-hour flight away. Then drive down with her so that we can visit my cousins and their kids who live 4 hours away. She knows I'm working 3 jobs to pay the bills and my debt, but she keeps insisting I just take the week off during a time I do not have off of work to go to celebrate their kid's birthday at their yearly gathering. I suggested I instead just fly there and meet her for only 2 or 3 days, much less flying time and less expensive this way. But she began getting defensive that she just wants me to go with her and that 3 days are not enough. I understand she misses me and that I've been living independently for 5 years now, but taking a whole week off of work to go to some kid's birthday party, if you do the math, is far more costly than traveling on a budget during a holiday break. Going on this trip will only require 1 day off, but that's a lot more manageable than a whole week. Missing only 1 day versus a whole week is obviously going to help me pay down my debt faster. So, am I the hoe for going on this trip in the first place? I
Yes.
leave next. You're so fast. You're so fast.
Yes. It's just, I mean, in my opinion, just irrelevant information to the story. I get it. The mom asked her to come. Okay, you cannot afford it. You can't go. That's it. End of story.
I
You're an
feel like
adult, right?
your BS meter is like flying,
Right.
like beeping, like blaring right now. He has 2 lines. Let me just read them. I leave next week. Also, I'm visiting my mom for Christmas, so it's not like I've abandoned her or anything. I'm just far away from her most of the time. I'd like to give OP an award. She deserves an award for the most background information I've ever heard. Girl, you are fighting for your life in this story. Um, I agree with you. I'm sorry. No. Okay. I see where you're saying, oh, like she's mad at me for taking this personal trip, but she's been telling me to take a week off to visit her and the family for such a long time. And that would be so much more costly. We both know the intent of the trips are different, right? Like, your mom is okay with the whole week off because, yes, she wants you to relax, but she misses you. She wants to spend time with you. It's not a money concern. I mean, yes, it's a money concern for you, but her intent for saying that is not because she's saying it'll be cheaper to visit her. Your mom just wants you to visit her. That's a separate situation altogether. You taking this trip for 1 day only, which I'm also like, why are you taking a flight for 1 day only? How cheap could this flight possibly be? Let's be honest. US flights are not that cheap, even if it's just a few hours flight. OP, I'm all for you taking a day off, taking a week off if you need to, right? But pay your debt off first. If you really want a day off, like honestly, take the day off, but don't go anywhere. Like, I don't know. This sounds really like bleak, but it's just the way it is once you're in debt. You kind of have to do some sacrifices, right? I like,
Yeah. I mean, the only way I can see her taking that trip is for her to talk to her mom, come up with a payment plan.
yeah,
They should both agree upon it.
right. And not
Even
just
though
one
they're going to be
sided.
paying interest, they might be okay with it. That's for them to decide, right?
Yeah.
I wouldn't recommend it, but they can decide on that. And when they do that, and if it fits her budget to take the trip, then I guess she can take the trip. Although probably not the greatest, I guess not the greatest decision financially, but I think that's
Yeah.
in my opinion that's the only way it would be okay.
OP, you're so funny. You're so funny for this because you include all this backstory and then you're like, so am I the a-hole? But I leave next week. Literally, that's her sentence.
Okay, what did the comments say?
Ooh, I'm dead. Let's see. First comment from Expensive Visual. What I don't think is fair is using her credit, bringing down her credit score, but then using money for a trip that could have been used to pay off debt only because it involves her credit. If it was only your credit, then there would be no issue. Rarely do I feel so strongly about, okay, is this a morally gray thing? Is there like something you can straddle in between? But for me, this is very much like black and white. Another comment from Loons Aloft. Everyone sucks here. You should indeed be paying off that debt as fast as possible and foregoing trips until you do so. Debt is a horrible thing to have over your head, and when it's to someone you know, they hold a lot of power over you. Your mom is right there, but she's wrong to make you take that time off. So don't go on that family trip, don't go on the Portland trip, and get out from under her thumb. Time to act like a grown up. Well, maybe I didn't catch that, but I don't think mom is making OP do anything. Mom is trying to convince OP, but mom is certainly not making OP like
Right.
forcing OP to be like, no, if you want to go on that trip, you better go on a trip with me first. Like, I'm not getting that vibe. So maybe you picked up a different feeling than I did.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a completely separate issue, and I don't think it's relevant to the question that OP's
No,
asking.
I
So
don't think
I don't
so.
think that mom is the a hole here.
Mm-mm.
Although I know you could argue that given the situation, she should not be
Right.
pressuring her, but I don't think it's
I don't. Yeah,
yeah, it's not
I'm with you. The smart thing is to not tell your kid, don't go anywhere. Don't even come visit me. Just pay off the debt to me. I think that's a smart thing, but I'm also not faulting mom if she's like, I want to see you. Like that's just her persuading. OP doesn't have to do it. That's the key word.
yep.
Another comment, you're the a-hole if you had to negotiate a payment with the credit card company, which I assume is what this comment is referring to. Ooh, there's another comment to refer to. That means you weren't in good standing and are severely impacting your mother's credit score. You can't say you're doing everything you can if you're taking an optional trip. Spending money to go on a trip over Thanksgiving rather than visiting her is adding insult to injury. Commenter says, spending money to go on a trip over Thanksgiving rather than visiting her is adding insult to injury. Now, you're not the a-hole for refusing to take a week off for the longer trip she wants you to take or for needing a break, but this particular break is an a-hole move. I agree. Oh, so it seems like there was a comment that, the reference comment they had. This was downvoted -38. What does that mean on Reddit? Like when someone downvotes something, when it's bad,
People
like thumbs
disagree.
down? Okay. So this post is very new, by the way. It's like a few hours old. So this is the most downvoted comment that we see, and it's from OP. Someone asked, info, when she agreed to co-sign for you on the credit card, did you agree to any conditions regarding when and how you would pay down the balance? OP says, nope, but I called the company and the two of us agreed to a good monthly payment amount, which I have been diligently paying. Do you guys hear that? It's the internal screaming in the distance. Caleb Hammer screaming. I'm internally screaming. No. You know your debt is bad when you need to have a conversation with Visa or MasterCard or Discover, whoever you have the credit card with. I didn't know you could do that. So you can call a credit card to negotiate the payment plan?
It's usually the company, so it wouldn't be like Visa or Mastercard. I think it would be like the bank, like Chase or
But is that a usual situation? I've never been in that situation, so I don't know. But like from what I know, and all I know is from the financial videos I watch or financial audits from Caleb Hammer, isn't it when your debt is pretty severe
or you haven't been
or
paying for a while,
you've defaulted, right? Or you haven't been paying
right?
for a while.
So for the credit card company to try to get the money back, I mean, they can potentially negotiate, right? And with you to get at least partial amount or the whole amount back over a certain period of time.
I thought you were an a-hole before OP, but this paints you as massive a-hole. You know why? OP doesn't disclose how much they actually put there. I'm thinking, oh, I was in a rut, like I had to, get some money. I had to put in credit. I'm thinking like 3,000. Like something like that. Something that's like maybe covers rent, like necessities or food for the month or something like that, right? Like maybe 4,000, 5,000 pushing it. But this sounds like it's significant.
I don't know what the amount is. Could be that
I
much.
don't
It
know.
doesn't matter what the amount is.
Well,
At this,
well, at this stage, no,
right.
but
If you
yeah.
cannot pay it off, you cannot pay it off. So I don't
But
know.
I'm mad the OP didn't mention like how bad it was until someone was asking, hey, so what were the conditions when you first took out this loan? Because that's what this is, right? Loan from the credit card. You guys are always complaining, hey, V, why don't you have stories where OP, is an a hole for once? There you go. This one was a very clear cut for me. Oh, man. I'm stressed for you, OP. I can't relax on vacation knowing that there's this debt looming over me like this and paying diligently the monthly payment. Are you paying like the bare minimum? Like, I'm worried about you financially. Maybe OP, my advice, this is turning into some Caleb Hammer ad, but maybe watch some Caleb Hammer YouTube videos. I'm just saying it could be helpful for you. All right, our last story, I do want to, bring it to a more lighthearted story. So we have a wedding one. This one is from the subreddit, Am I the A-hole? Am I the a-hole for refusing to label my wedding cake as vegan because a guest felt tricked?
Oh, what?
How dare you deceive me with vegan food? That's the impression I'm getting from the story. Opie says, my husband, 32-year-old male, and I, 30-year-old female, had a vegan wedding because we're both vegan. We made it clear in advance that the food and cake would be plant-based, and no one complained until the reception. The cake was gorgeous, 3 tiers decorated with edible flowers. Oh, I wish OP attached an image. I want to see this cake. Towards the end of the night, one of my husband's aunts, Linda, came up to me looking visibly upset. She said it was disrespectful to have a vegan cake on display because it felt like I was pushing my lifestyle on everyone. Wait till she finds out all the food she ate at the wedding was also vegan.
She's been checked.
She's been bamboozled. I told her the cake wasn't meant to make a statement. It was just the dessert. I'm sorry, I'm laughing, guys. I'm dying. I told her the cake wasn't meant to make a statement. It was just the dessert we chose for our wedding. She insisted I either move the cake off the main table or add a sign saying it was vegan so that people wouldn't be tricked into eating it. I refused because 1, it was my wedding. 2, it's a cake, not propaganda. And 3, no one seemed to care. Linda ended up storming out, and now my in-laws are saying I should have compromised to avoid drama. I think Linda's reaction was ridiculous, but my husband thinks I could have just put up a sign to keep the peace. Am I the a-hole? No. Oh my goodness. Okay, this tells me 2 things. 1, Linda can't read. And 2, it's just not that deep. Sometimes some of these problems, guys, it's just there's no statement here. There's no bold like stance to make. It's a wedding. It's not that deep. I think if OP, you and your husband didn't let all the guests know beforehand that, hey, we're just having a vegan wedding, then yeah, you would be someone a-hole because socially most people aren't vegans. And you should probably let people know beforehand to a big event, right? I think so. But you did let everyone know. And unless your aunt can't, I guess now, unless your aunt in law can't read, wait, what did she think the rest of the wedding food was?
She's been checked.
Oh my God. Like, I love how, so it's the end of the night now because, when the cake is being cut and like people are going to start eating the cake, that's usually towards the end, like after dinner. So you're telling me she enjoyed the whole vegan meal, but has beef because of the vegan cake. Got it? That was so good. You have to admit that one was really good.
Has no beef.
I gotta. That's true. She had no beef. Well, in this case, the only beef she got was her problem with the freaking cake. Wait. How did she discover the cake was vegan? Did she bite into a slice and go, something's not right? Where's the milk? Like, I imagine, did she just click like that? Although I will say, I love good vegan and vegetarian food. I mean, I think I've told you guys before, my mom makes phenomenal vegan vegetarian food. So good. So good.
Makes me,
Em's nodding.
yeah. Well, besides that, it kind of reminded me of those. What do they call like? Are they cupcakes? Are they muffins? Muffins
Muffins? Oh my
from Whole
gosh.
Foods.
What is the company? Oh my gosh. If you guys just like good muffins, like I like them because they're just good muffins. Vegan or not, I just like them. But our one friend got us on these muffins. It's from Whole Foods. They come in like blueberry chocolate, carrot cake, I think coconut something flavor.
Yeah, I think it comes to a pack of what, like 15 or so.
Yeah, 15 or so. They're like little muffins. I forgot what company it is.
I don't know. I don't remember either, but
I'll throw up an image here
they're
if I
really
can
good.
find it. They're the most moist, delicious muffins ever. They're so good. We need to get some. I don't know why we haven't gotten any. I guess it's because we don't really usually go to Whole Foods.
Mhm.
They're so good. My thing here is I am not a vegan, right? Like my diet does not consist 100% of vegan food. And it's not for any other reason other than, to be honest, guys, I just like meat and seafood. So it's kind of like, but when the food is good, the food is good. I don't care whether or not it has meat in it or not.
Yeah, I think what got me was the statement that they were tricking the people into eating vegan food. Like, what does that even mean?
Why does she make it sound like it's such a horrible thing? It's like,
Right.
how dare you bamboozle me into eating the wedding cake?
No, vegan wedding cake.
The vegan cake. I mean, let me tell you guys a funny story. So I think the first time Em and I ever had a vegan cake, right? It was for one of our friends' birthday. Let me tell you, none of us have ever eaten vegan cake. I mean, other than our vegan friend, but we wanted to surprise him and do something nice. So we all chipped in and got him a vegan cake. Well, I think someone like looked up like a bakery that made vegan cakes. And so we ordered him like a really nice cake. So when he saw the cake, it was when most of us saw the cake for the first time, to be honest with you, right? After pickup. So when I tell you, okay, picture sand, like in the driest sensation in your mouth. No flavor, just sand. That was the taste of that vegan cake.
It was pretty bad.
It was so dry. That's all I remember, though, the chalky dryness of this whole cake.
Yeah. Although there was one worse thing during that whole birthday event is that the place charged us like $20 to cut the cake, to just slice the cake, I don't know, into like what, 10, 12 pieces?
Yes. Okay, when I tell you this took me out, so at first we said, oh, you can just bring a knife. Like we can cut the cake
Right.
ourselves, right? And they said, no, we don't allow that. And I forgot what they said. Oh, safety hazard. But what's funny is you have knives when you're dining. Like they give you dining knives. So I guess a cake cutting knife is 10 times more dangerous. I don't know what they thought we were going to do with it or what incidents this restaurant has seen before. So they took in the back and they cut it. The bill comes out. They have a cake cutting fee, which took me out because it was our cake. We brought it. We had their permission. Like we knew, we called ahead. We knew we were allowed to bring the cake after dinner. And we spent a pretty good chunk of money because everyone ordered entrees and appetizers and stuff from this restaurant. So imagine my horror when I see a cake cutting fee, $20 freaking dollars. For someone to just cut up our cake that we paid for. And it was really expensive, right? Like vegan cakes are, I think, more expensive than regular cakes. I remember it was pretty pricey. And to serve to us a sand cake. I was so mad. That was the most overpriced cake I ever purchased. Like the Whole Foods muffins, vegan muffins were 10 times better. Easily.
For sure.
So good. Oh, so good. I wish, going back in time, you know what we should have done? We should have gotten a bunch of those muffins, vegan muffins. We stacked into a tower. He would have loved it. Our friend would have loved it.
Although I'm rethinking the whole situation, so maybe they were right to charge us the $20.
Why?
Maybe the cake was so dry that it was a safety hazard, and they spent like an hour cutting it or something.
They did take a while cutting it, actually.
Maybe that was the reason.
I just imagine an employee in the back with a knife, just like trying to saw the cake. Like maybe the foot, like they needed to leverage their foot, like one foot up, like seesawing like the cake.
Yeah, they broke a couple knives as well.
But yes, that was our experience. I mean, all to say, if I'm at someone's event, even if they fed me vegan food, I'd be like, if it was bad vegan food, like let me just summarize this. Bad food, I would be disappointed. Would I say anything to the host? No, I
Mm.
really wouldn't.
No, put up a sign saying it's bad cake, it's bad food.
That would be so unhinged. I'm just dying. But what's crazy to me is this is a family member of the groom's. And she was so pissed off about this vegan cake that she stormed out the wedding.
Perhaps it's, the lack of meat that made her angry.
That's true. You know what? We got to excuse the aunt that she's just hangry. It's fine. All behaviors, all nonsense and unhinged weirdness is excused because she's hangry. I'm kidding, guys. I'm kidding. Oh, let's see what some of the comments say. I think they're gonna be funny. First comment from Blue Eyed Wolf. Not the whole thing was vegan. It was your wedding, your choice. I wouldn't feel tricked by eating a vegan cake at all. She has some issues. Let her seethe and be upset. You don't owe her anything. Putting up a sign would have rewarded her bad, entitled behavior. You had no reason to do it. I agree. I don't see. I know this is one of those situations where people would be like, just keep the peace, end the drama, put a little sign up so that she can stop her hissy fit. But for once, I don't think I'd be petty for saying this, but no, it's her wedding day. OP and husband paid for the dang cake. They literally told everybody that everything was vegan. So I don't know why she thought the cake would be different. Maybe she doesn't think vegan cakes exist. Maybe that's the thing. Because if you allow this behavior, I agree with the commenter, you're rewarding bad with good. And you're reinforcing that, hey, people can throw hissy fits. Grown adults can throw these hissy fits and you'll just reward them with good things. Stand your ground, OP. Another comment from Bootastical. I like this username. Not the whole, should you also put a sign up if you serve broccoli? You're not tricking anyone into eating something they're allergic to or tricking vegans into eating a non vegan cake. This is just the absence of certain ingredients. The horror. That is true. I agree with this. You know, it'd be really petty. If, say, after your wedding and after your honeymoon, OP, you have a family dinner, right? And you guys host it. And then one of the appetizers, you have like a plate of broccolini and you label everything with like a small little sign that says vegan. And every dish you bring out is just vegan. This has no meat next to your plate of potatoes. No meat, no dairy. Oh, that's so passive aggressive. It would be so funny. Would you let me do this? If we had an outrageous aunt that was making a fuss about our wedding cake, would you let me play a little bit prank? Do a little bit of a, petty retaliation?
Realistically, probably no.
See, you're no fun. You're no fun, honey.
Just create more problems.
Really? I mean, I know you're right. I think in reality, guys, sometimes I feel like I talk a big game, but you guys are hearing my internal thoughts out loud. Okay? You're hearing my inner voice that's like, down with the peace, let the fire burn. But outwardly, I think I'm definitely more the type to be, I will pick my battles. I won't be petty today. So yeah, I agree with the comments. So all the comments are saying not they whole, and they're all glad OP didn't bow down to the whole signage thing and adding a sign next to the cake, which kind of is dumb when you think about it. Because if every food at the wedding is vegan, why would you? The cake is vegan too, right? I hope you had a beautiful wedding, regardless of the aunt's fiasco and the nonsense. And I hope this is a story that you kind of look back on with your husband and laugh about, OP. Something like maybe years from now, you'll look at and be, remember that one crazy aunt that was so annoyed that we tricked her and we scammed and fooled her into eating a cake? The horror. So I hope you guys enjoyed these stories. I felt like today we're ending with a more wholesome, happy, silly note. And if you guys like these stories, don't forget to like this episode and hit subscribe, guys. If you're listening on Spotify, don't forget to rate me 5 stars. Thanks, guys, and I'll see you soon. Bye. Hey, Bear. Behind the scenes with Beanie.